Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about my journey throughout CRNA school. So today's video is gonna be a final C exam update video. If you guys are interested, let's get into the nitty gritty. Alright, so first things first, I want to take the time to apologize for not posting, not giving you guys updates throughout. The last update video I did was about a month ago for week 12, just finishing up week 16 now. So I'm sorry about that, but this is gonna be, I'm gonna explain everything as far as what's been going on and why I haven't been posting, and then I'll get into my semester 4 update video in the next week. So you have that to look out for, but I don't want to say I'm back yet because I feel like, you know, with getting into didactic now full time, it's gonna be a whole ball game that I don't know if I'm ready for, but I probably will update you guys more on what the structure of my school is gonna look like and if I'll be able to post. It looks like I'm gonna be very busy, but anyway, we're here to talk about the C exam, right? I posted a video that I was prepping for the C, and then I posted an update video that I didn't pass and that I signed up for the test 4 weeks from when I took it. So 4 weeks from when I took it, I did make it to take the test, but there were some things that happened in my life in between the first attempt and the second attempt that made me not mentally focused. I lost my dog. She passed away. So it wasn't exactly the best time for me, you know, emotionally, and like just a whole bunch of turmoil going on in my head. Just not being physically able to study just because of, like, you know, grief and just not being mentally like present. I wasn't able to actually put forth the effort that I needed to pass the C exam in the second attempt. She passed away 5 days before I took it, and that was the time that I was gonna grind. I had you know, assignments and quizzes and homework and like a whole bunch of other things in between the 4 week time span, so I couldn't really study as much as I wanted to. I think I had said I wanted to do 8 hours of Apex daily. That didn't happen just because school and other things and work, I never had the opportunity. So the weekend before the C exam was gonna be my time. And I signed up for the C on week 15, and I had a final that was moved to week 15. So I had a final right after the C exam, and you know, it's just like the way that things worked. I felt like what was more important to me in the school aspect was the C more than the finals, because I had done the math on what I needed just to stay in the program, and it was like I can do those grades with my eyes closed. So I kind of put the actual classes on the back burner, and I started to put the C, you know, on the front burner and really try to like take my time and really study for that. But you know, then what happened with my dog, so I just said I'm gonna postpone. I'm gonna reschedule the test for a week from when I was gonna take it. And my fiance, he made a good point, and he's like, I think that you should just try and see if you'll pass it. You haven't put the time and effort that you've needed to, but it'll give you, you know, a feel for the test. And it did. I'm glad that I did it. My wallet isn't happy about it. You know, each time you attempt to take this exam, it's $265. So we'll do a math tally later, but I don't want to do that right now. But anyway, so second attempt, I took it. My score improved only a smidge, and I'll go into my scores. I was almost so embarrassed to talk about them, but now that I've you know, managed to study, I feel a little better about it. So I took the C exam last week, and I didn't get a very good score. So, you know, I was down to the point where if I didn't take the C in finals week, that I was gonna receive an incomplete in the class, and I was gonna have to take it at some point. We have a break now. We have a week off. We have a week off in the first week of May, and then we'll be starting full-time clinicals in the second week of May. So at that point, you have to have the class completed within a 4 week time period from when the grades go in. So, well, that's what they were saying. I don't know. They kind of like changed the whatever. Neither here nor there. So I was kind of stressed out about it. Like I didn't want to go into the break having to take this exam. I didn't want it incomplete in any of my classes because this test was tied into one of my classes and it was worth 30% of the class. So, you know, if you don't pass it, you get a 70. And just based on what you've turned in and all that, like there's no way that you can actually get a 70. That means that you have to get 100 in all the other assignments. So bottom line, you'll get a D in the class and the program will not allow anyone with D's to move forward. So it's like if you don't pass the C, you fail out. So you know, the stress of not passing it in the second attempt was a lot, and I really needed that win. But honestly, how could I get the win if I didn't put in the time? The first attempt, I did 8 mock exams and just called it a day. And then the second attempt, I did review the respiratory module in Apex, and I did domain exams. They had domain exams for every system, and also they had domain exams for surgical procedures. So I did the domain exams for the systems and surgical procedures while also doing the module for the respiratory portion. And I did feel like, excuse me, hi, I'm filming a video. I did feel like it was helpful to do that. My score improved by 14 points, but you know, it wasn't enough to pass. So I signed up for the C a week from when I took it. Well, really like 9 days from when I took it. And I said, forget my finals. I don't care about them. You know, I can get B's in all my classes and still be fine, but I can't move on without the C. So from second attempt to third attempt, there was 9 days, and I put all my efforts every hour pretty much for those 9 days, and I made it through. I made it through. I honestly, while I was taking the test in the third attempt, I want to say that I felt like I wasn't gonna pass again. It just, like, it's 240 questions of hell. Like, you know, it's like you get one question, you answer it, you move on, and you can't go back. But it's like, it's a grind, and it's like an endurance that I hadn't yet had in the first attempt. The second attempt, I got a little more comfortable with it. And the third attempt, I felt like a pro, taking 240 questions in one sitting, and I was able to manage. But I just want to say that as long as you put in the effort, you can get, you know, what you need out of it. Because I put in every waking hour I could to study for the C exam for my third attempt, and I'm happy that I did that. You know, I wasn't, sometimes I would get into like these little modes where I couldn't stay focused. I would study for an hour, take a break, study for an hour, take a break, but this was just like 12-hour grinds every day, and I was interrupted by classes. You know what I mean? All the while I was still, you know, I'm still grieving the loss of my dog. So it was kind of like, I don't know, just like I haven't really been in the right headspace because I've just been feeling like, you know, I've been feeling the imposter syndrome throughout the entire 4 semesters, but then when I took the C exam the first and the second time and got the scores that I got, it wasn't a syndrome anymore. No, I was just an imposter. Like, I just felt like all the negative thoughts just came crashing in, and like, you know, getting out of that headspace and then dealing with grief, it's just like, it's not easy. Like, it really isn't easy. It's just, it really is unfortunate that, you know, things happen the way that they do. You know, I don't really want to elaborate anymore about my dog because I know I'm gonna start crying and I don't want to do that on camera. Anyway, I've done that I think a couple times. But anyway, let me go into the scores now, and I want to explain what I did differently from the second attempt to the third attempt in terms of the actual grind, like what I actually did to improve my scores. So that way, you know, I went on YouTube and I noticed that there wasn't really any C exam information, because I don't know how recent this exam is. Like since CRNA came out with it, but you know, there isn't much information on YouTube, so I figured why not. Anyway, so let's go over the first attempt. So my first attempt, I took it on March 21st. I did the 8 mock exams and called it a day. These mock exams, there was 5 that were 100 questions and 3 that were 170. I did 5 in the study mode and 3 in the simulation mode, which is where it's like kind of like you actually in the test and then you get the results at the end. So anyways, They break this test down into 4 sections. It's basic sciences, equipment, instrumentation, and technology. Then they have general principles of anesthesia, and the last subject is anesthesia for surgical procedures and special populations. So then I kind of did the math, and it seems like the overall scaled score is like an average of the 4, but like close enough. But anyway, so basic sciences, I got a 410. I should mention what I need to pass this exam was a 425. Like it doesn't say pass fail, it just gives you a scaled score. Sir, hi, you're making a mess. So all the subjects essentially should be above 425 in order to get an average of 425. So, you know, here we go. So basic sciences, I got a 410. Equipment, instrumentation, and technology, I got a 387. General principles of anesthesia, I got a 342. And then anesthesia for surgical procedures and special populations, I got a 378. So here, what I noticed was that I needed to focus a lot on general principles of anesthesia. General principles of anesthesia, how do you study for that? Great question. So a Prodigy actually has exams based on CRNA headings. So in this regard, it's good that you can do that, because then it'll just give you a generalized question bank of questions that fit under that subject heading. So it's kind of nice, that way you could see where you're lacking and kind of focus on that, because really if your score improves in one section, your scaled scores should really fly, because like I said, it's an average of the scores. So I was very bummed. My overall scaled score was a 378. I definitely didn't think that I did that bad. When I took it, I felt like crap the entire time. I maybe knew 5 out of 240 questions. Okay, so that was the first attempt. Just this alone, my confidence was gone. Confidence completely gone. Like, I didn't even feel like I was worthy to be in the program. So then I took the second attempt 4 weeks from that day. I took it on 418, and let me go over the scores. So basic sciences, I got another 410, nothing changed. Equipment, instrumentation, and technology, it actually went down from a 387 to a 375. Then general principles of anesthesia, I kind of was, when I was doing the respiratory section and the domain exams for the systems as well as the surgical procedures, I guess it must have helped, because I went from a 342 to a 384 on my second attempt. And then anesthesia for surgical procedures and special populations went up from 378 to 401. So my overall scaled score was a 392 from a 378. And I mean, granted, I put in only, 4 days in the weekend, and it was barely mentally there. So going into the final attempt, what did I change? So granted, I put in a lot more hours, like a lot more hours. I did, Apex has it where every lesson has questions afterwards, about 10 questions, going over the section that was just covered. And then there's let's say 4 lessons in one unit. At the end of the unit, there's 4 subject exams, review exams they call them. So I did, at the end of every section, I did the 10 questions, and then I did the review exams for every part of that unit, and then I moved on to the next unit, because I think there's 12 to 15 units. There's a ton. There's a lot of information in Apex. I do recommend it. I have a video on Apex already. But yeah, so instead of going through each in-depth review to review the sections, I didn't feel like I had time to go over everything. So in that sense, I just did the questions for each section and then the review exams for each section. And then I did in Prodigy, I did for equipment, I did an CRNA heading exam, which I did 170 questions, and I do feel like it helped me a lot. There was a lot of aspects on the anesthesia machine that I felt like I wasn't quite grasping, like the whole concept of an open system versus a closed system, the breathing circuits, piston versus bellows. So it was kind of very informative for me. Even though it's just questions, the rationales really help to understand what the question is asking and how to answer it. So the test taking skills I was gaining, as well as learning the knowledge from each section, especially the sections that I didn't do so well. So 10 out of 10, I recommend doing the MB-CRNA headings from Prodigy, even though Prodigy sucks in terms of the interface, and I've said that. I have a video for Prodigy as well. It was kind of crashing on me every now and then. Like I would be 40 questions in and the website would crash, but nonetheless, I was able to do a bunch of questions there. I did all the questions in Apex. I did all the domain exams again. I did all the surgical procedures exams again. And then I just was kind of like going over content, you know, things that I felt like I wasn't quite grasping. Like I felt like I don't know if I could talk about any of the questions, but I felt like regional anesthesia it kept getting me, like in terms of anatomy. Like the question would ask something in terms of anatomy and I just wasn't able to visualize it. So I was like, you know what, let me do that section and really hone in on the regional anatomy of the nerves, the muscles, everything that's innervated in that area. And like, especially the landmarks for the blocks and things like that. Like, I feel like I do like regional, so it was really interesting for me to go over those sections, but I felt like I was able to really grasp those concepts very well. And it did help me in this final attempt. I'm going to go over the scores for that now, but I think that's pretty much it as far as what I put in as far as changes from the second attempt to the third. I really put in a lot more time, and you know, it really paid off. So like I said earlier, what you put in is what you get out. So let's go over the scores. So basic sciences, the last two attempts I had a solid 410, so now I got a 432. Equipment, instrumentation, and technology, the best score I had in that was a 387. I went up to a 410. Again, I told you I needed a 425. So this one, I had one above and one below, so we're in trouble, right? General principles of anesthesia, the best score I had for that was a 384, and this time I got a 429. So just right above. And then last but not least, anesthesia for surgical procedures and special populations, I got a 457 after having the highest score for that as a 401. So that left my scaled score at a 431. So I am humbled. This test definitely, you know, showed me where I'm lacking, and I did feel like I didn't quite know the material. Like I understood the concepts and things like that, but to go in depth as much as these questions were going in depth, I wasn't there. Like I only had scratched the surface of knowledge. So studying for this really helped me gain that, and I feel like it's given me the confidence to go into clinicals with a lot more knowledge than when I did last week. So although I hated this exam and I hated the way it made me feel, I hated the amount of anxiety and stress it caused for me, I am grateful for it because, you know, knowing that it could be done, you know, like to go from a 378 to a 431, you know, in a matter of a month and maybe 5 weeks is huge. You know, like if you ever think that you're not good enough for something, you know, just don't do that to yourself. Like, because I did that and I proved myself wrong, and I'm really humbled, really humbled by this experience, and I'm glad that I can share it with you guys. I know this video was super long, but I felt like it was important to explain what's been going on and why I haven't been present. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions regarding the C exam, if you're gonna be taking the C exam, please comment down below. I'd be more than happy to help you, give you some advice, give you some words of wisdom, just some words of encouragement, because this exam is no joke. And you know, I'm just glad that I got through it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.